Coming up on today's episode of Airborne-Unlimited. Man pleads guilty after crashing drone into water bomber. Trump appoints Christopher Rocheleau acting FAA head. 7 killed and more injured in medical jet crash. Welcome to Airborne Unlimited. I'm your host, Ronald. Let's get into today's stories. Man pleads guilty after crashing drone into water bomber. A 56-year-old California man recently pled guilty after he flew his drone into a Super Scooper firefighting aircraft. The incident forced responders to temporarily ground all nearby aircraft and take the damaged plane out of service. California authorities have reported at least 40 unauthorized drone incidents during the Palisades Fire, which scorched over 23,400 acres of land and left at least 12 residents dead. On January 9th, 56-year-old Peter Tripp Aikman sent his small drone towards the flame to assess the damage. Instead, after leaving Aikman's line of sight, it ended up in the wing of Quebec 1, a CL-415 Super Scooper specifically designed for firefighting. The aircraft can scoop up upwards of 1,500 gallons of water to dump on fires. The collision led to all aircraft responding to the Palisades Fire being temporarily grounded. According to LA Fire Department spokesperson Eric Scott, Quebec 1 sustained wing damage and was out of service for approximately 5 days. It was put on priority for repair with hopes to get the aircraft back in the air as quickly as possible. Now Aikman is paying for the 3x6 drone-shaped hole with up to a year in federal prison. He pled guilty to 1 count of unsafe operation with an unmanned aircraft. After the break, 2 Goodyear blimps to be at Oshkosh 2025.
I'm currently using the Hartsel Talon, by far the best aerobatic propeller ever come out.
I use the Trailblazer. It adds performance to the Super Decathlon and dependability, and it's rugged.
Hartsel's been an excellent partner for Whip Air, just in terms of your product support as well as keeping an eye on the market and developing new products that meet demand.
It's helping us all have better performing airplanes.
It's such a proud honor to fly behind that propeller.
Looking for a new generation of proven and efficient aviation power plants that boast modern engineering, electronic ignition, and both direct and gear drive systems? With 100 horsepower to 240 horsepower, the Skyline and Redline engines offer uncommon value in an overpriced industry. Whether you are looking for fixed wing or rotor, MW Fly Americas has been established to service the American market with dedication and expertise. MWFlyAmericas.com.
Welcome back. Now let's take a trip around the patch for some shorter stories. 2 Goodyear blimps to be at Oshkosh 2025. Goodyear will be celebrating the 100th anniversary of its famous and popular blimps by bringing not 1 but 2 of them to EAA AirVenture in Oshkosh 2025 for this year, the 75th Fly-In Convention, July 21st through 27th at Whitman Regional Airport in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. This will be the first time ever in its 50 years of appearing at AirVenture that Goodyear is bringing 2 of its blimps to the event. Multiple blimps have appeared together at other shows occasionally, but it doesn't happen too often. Coast Guard and Airbus sign deal on MH-65 fleet support. The Coast Guard and Airbus helicopters have signed an MOU to continue support services for the Coast Guard's fleet of MH-65 Dolphin helicopters through 2037. The terms of the agreement stipulate that Airbus helicopters will deliver enhanced maintenance, spare parts, and technical support on the MH-65 helicopters to optimize the performance and availability of the fleet's aircraft. It also includes provisions for fleet modernization and engineering services to extend the operational life of the aircraft. Japan chooses Beechcraft T6 to modernize pilot training. Textron announced together with the Kanematsu Group that the Japan Air Self-Defense Force has selected the Beechcraft T6 Texan II integrated training system to modernize the training for its pilots. With the purchase, Japan joins 14 other nations that have selected the T6 to add to the fleet of over 1,000 T6 aircraft delivered worldwide. The Beechcraft T6 Texan II is designed and built by Textron Aviation Defense. John Mulholland named Boeing Starliner Program Manager. Boeing announced that John Mulholland, who has been the program manager for the company's ISS unit, has been tapped to be the manager for the company's Starliner program, replacing Mark Nappy, who led the Starliner program since 2022. Nappy has moved into a new role to, quote, focus on identifying opportunities for streamlining improvement across the division's space programs until he retires next month, end quote. Mulholland led the Starliner program from 2011 to 2020, when he switched to the ISS program. That's it for today's trip around the patch. Let's get back to the rest of the news. Trump appoints Chris Rocheleau acting FAA head. President Trump announced on January 30th the appointment of FAA Deputy Administrator Chris Rocheleau to acting administrator following the mid-air collision over the Potomac River near Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport between an American Eagle passenger flight and a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter. Rocheleau is a 22-year veteran of the agency during two separate stints beginning in 1996. In 2002, he left to be a senior policy advisor for the TSA for 3 years, and then returned to the FAA until 2022, when he left to become the COO for the NBAA. He then returned again to the FAA in January 2025 as Deputy Administrator. Trump made the announcement to reporters in the White House briefing room, saying, quote, I'm also immediately appointing an acting commissioner to the FAA, Christopher Rocheleau, a 22-year veteran of the agency and highly respected. Christopher, thank you very much. Appreciate it, end quote. Trump had also just thanked newly confirmed Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy for his work on the crash up to this point, saying, quote, we only have the highest standards for those who work in our aviation system, end quote. After these messages, 7 killed and more injured in medical jet crash.
Meet the first of a new generation of the M-Class family. The M700 Fury. An aircraft worthy of the name, an indomitable force. The M700 Fury transcends traditional limits. With more power, blistering performance, a finely appointed interior, and the luxury of what matters most. Time. Experience the Fury. Join the legacy.
DirectFly USA proudly introduces the new Alto NG, a single-engine, two-seat light sport aircraft for the North American market. This simple, all-metal aircraft design provides low-maintenance cost, easy, comfortable access, and responsive flight controls. Equipped with the Rotax 912 engine and a ballistic parachute, the Alto NG is reliable and safe. Learn more about the Alto NG at directflyusa.com.
Welcome back. 7 killed and more injured in medical jet crash. A Learjet 55 medical jet crashed near a shopping mall in Philadelphia on Friday, January 31st, killing all 6 on board and injuring several more on the ground. The aircraft was transporting a young patient back to Mexico after she completed her treatment at the Shriners Children's Hospital. The small jet was a part of Jet Rescue Air Ambulance's fleet. It took off from the Northeast Philadelphia airport just after 6 p.m., carrying 6 occupants, 2 pilots, a doctor, a paramedic, and a young female patient and her mother. The flight had planned to make a fuel stop at Springfield-Branson National Airport in Missouri before continuing on to Mexico's Tijuana International. However, only a minute after takeoff and amid being transferred to the departure frequency, the Learjet 55 entered a rapid descent at a maximum of 11,000 feet per minute. It crashed just after 6 p.m. near Cottman and Bustleton Avenues, across from the Roosevelt Mall and 2.5 nautical miles from the airport. All 6 of the Learjet's occupants were killed as the aircraft collided with the ground and burst into flames. City officials stated at least 1 person on the ground was killed, and 19 more were injured due to the wreckage impacting cars, streets, and homes. And that's our show for today. You can catch episodes of Airborne on YouTube, Roku, or Fire TV. Just search for Aero-News or Airborne. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks for watching.